I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la 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 la, la 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 la, oh, oh.
Hello, welcome back to Barbells, Bench and Bros. This is episode 5. I'm your host Jake. I'm joined by our co-host Gio. And once again, we have a special guest today, our future lawyer. So if you want to sue us at Barbells, Benches and Bros, you have to go through her first. It is Kat. Hi, Kat. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell them who you are.
I'm Kat, future lawyer and influencer. No,
Yeah.
just joking. Oh yeah, I bleached it. So I'm having like dumb blonde moments because all the bleach is like just coming into my brain. So
That's
but
fine.
yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, before this episode begins, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Barbells, Benches and Bros, and make sure to follow Kat at Kat.
I forgot my socials.
Oh,
It's fine. I'll comment on that below.
Yeah, I'll have a thing pop up for it. But yeah, in this episode, we're going to be talking about eating disorders and female body standards and beauty standards in the media. But before we get into that, Gio, how's your week been this week, fitness-wise?
So I think an important part of the fitness journey, right, is when you stumble.
Yep.
So this week, I'll be completely honest with you guys, it wasn't a good week for me. I had some bad news this week, and because of this, right, I've been struggling to stay on my cut. So for the past few days, I've been pretty poorly. I've eaten a lot of junk food. But the point is about, it's not about when you slip up, it's about how you rebound, isn't it? So, everyone slips up as they go along through their fitness journey. I've just slipped up now. So next week, things will get better. Fortunately, I have been to the gym 5 days a week. I even did legs.
Hey.
I didn't skip.
You
So,
did legs?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I needed to, bro. It wasn't a good week for me. So I had to go hit legs this week. So yeah. Well, how's it going for you, Jake? Are you cutting well? Have you been going to the gym? What's up?
My cutting's, I still need to be better at counting actual calories, but fitness has been alright. My quads still hurt. Not my quads, my whole legs still hurt from the squat challenge. I can't lie.
You killed it, though. You killed it.
I did kill it, but I killed my legs in the process as well.
Ah.
But yeah, I went 3 times last week with my brother, and I actually didn't any PRs or anything, but it went pretty well, and I feel better. Kat, have you been up to anything recently?
In terms of like gym and stuff, no, not really.
No,
I don't
fair
go to the gym. My gym is walking from uni to uni, so
That's still fitness.
Yeah,
There
that
we
is
go.
general
still
fitness.
fitness. Yeah.
How long is the walk?
30 minutes.
You know what? I reckon that's better than a hell of a lot of students.
Yeah.
I drive everywhere now, so I do it.
Because I can't afford the bus, I have to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I'm hearing is you're thinking about your health
Yes.
and fitness. That's what that is.
Thinking
Yes.
about the health.
Okay, let's get. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's get straight into the episode now. Kat wants to talk about her personal experiences with eating disorders, and actually, before we start, I have took screenshots of the NHS website of what they determine what a eating disorder is,
Oh, shit.
and I've
Really?
come research for once. I know. I actually need to find it now. Okay, this is where I'm going to stutter. I'm going to have to
No,
cut
you
around
got
this like
it,
hell.
you got
Right. An eating disorder is a mental health condition where you use control of food to cope with feelings and other situations. Unhealthy eating behaviours may include eating too much or too little, or worrying about your weight or body shape. So that, I feel like a lot of people who go to the gym can relate a lot to that, to be fair. Anyone can get an eating disorder, but teenagers and young adults, are mostly affected. With treatment, most people can recover from eating disorder. And then various types of eating disorders, but I won't go into that right now, but basically one's about not eating food and exercising too much to compensate for it, losing control over how much you eat and taking drastic action to not put on weight, and then eating large portions of food until you feel uncomfortably full. So, Kat, have you had any experience with this? Only if you feel safe to feel so.
I definitely think so, yeah. None of it is like, none of it's diagnosed.
Yeah.
But I think that's what a lot of people I suffer from, and a lot of it goes unseen, if you will. And I think like I'm one of those people, especially in the last year or so. I've struggled with the mental aspect of it,
Yeah.
which also kind of brought into my physical.
Sorry, can you move your mic a bit closer? Sorry.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But yeah, I would say so that I would struggle myself with it, especially with like social media and stuff being
Yeah.
very popular with me growing up and with many people growing up. I think it's very common for young girls and young people in general to get them.
So you say because of the media and people in the media, you felt a bit self-conscious, and that led to...
Yeah, definitely. It was,
Yeah.
like with the rise of like influencers and stuff as well, with skinny influencers, it's like you constantly compare yourself to others, and you're like, and you wish you kind of want to be them,
Yeah.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, okay. Right. Have you experienced anything similar to this or anything like this, Gio?
Well, we talked about body dysmorphia last time, right? And I feel like body dysmorphia is like...
I think we've got hand in hand
eating disorder.
after reading that,
They're definitely coming together, right? Because like I think if you have body dysmorphia, then you're incredibly likely to develop an eating disorder.
Yeah.
I think that's only logical, right? So we talked about that last time, but like just eating disorders in general, I don't know. I wouldn't say I had one. Then because like we talked about it last time, right? I ate 1,000 calories over, and then I went to the gym for like 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Which as you described by that definition, yes, that is technically. But then again, I wouldn't say I have one because like I don't know. I don't really see like many like mental downsides to it because like, I feel like it's fundamentally different. Like, okay, if you don't mind, like how would you like? Because obviously we have the definitions there, but how would you explain what you're experiencing? How would you define it?
I'm going to take what I learned from the past year because that's when it was like at my peak, if you will, because I've been like adjusting to new life changes, like going to uni my first year, so hard, so difficult. So it's mainly been like just you feel constantly sad and you constantly like tired, and you just like you stop attending uni, you stop doing good at what you're doing, so your job, your uni, even socializing with friends, that was a big one for me too. Also, which comes in hand with uni as well, but like I got to live like FOMO. So like when I see people on social media and I was like, oh, I wish I was there. When they were going clubbing every Friday night, I was like, girl, I want to be there. But like that's definitely one of them. And then it's just mainly stuff like eating one meal a day, and it's just consistently being in bed for me personally, and having no motivation to do anything. That's mainly what it was.
No, that sounds absolutely terrible. Actually, I don't know how someone copes with something like that. So, would you say you still experience things like this, or would you say that it's far better than it was back then?
I think I'm getting a bit better now. I'm eating a lot more. I can't gain weight though. That is really hard for me to do, because like I was listening to your first podcast when I've had this far, and I was like, oh, you should be eating like 500 calories more, and I was like, I'm not even reaching that. Like on a good day, I'm eating my minimum. So like, so now that you get better, it's still really hard because you deal with the consequences of it afterwards. So I lost 10 kilograms last year too. So I'm technically severely underweight for what my height's supposed to be, and still, I'm still struggling to gain weight. I'm in the same place where I was basically last year.
How would you say your relationship with food is? Because like you say you struggle to gain weight, but there's a lot of food that are higher calories and stuff like that. So like I have a few friends who are like this too. Like they look at certain foods and they're like, oh, this food's really oily, greasy, so they won't eat it. Like they look at it like that. Do you experience something similar like that? Like, what's your relationship with food in general?
Now I always I have my fitness pal, and I always get anxious when I don't hit the goal of what I'm supposed to eat for that day. So I'm looking and I'm like, I've got 100 calories. I've got nothing in the house to kind of like, eat. So I'm constantly worrying. I'm sitting in bed. I'm like texting everyone. I was like, oh, like I haven't eaten enough today. Like, am I going to be okay? Or like physically. At one point, me and Derek, my boyfriend, got like into a rabbit hole where he had to like console me, saying, Kat, it's okay. Like, you're not going to die if you don't eat. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't miss the goal. Eat, please. God. But like, yeah, it's just something that you have to deal with the aftermath as well of.
How do you say you would deal with the aftermath of it? Because you say you're still getting better at it. It's obviously still ongoing progress, but what are the steps you've taken to try get better at it?
My advice is from someone who hasn't like struggled with it severely. So it's just up to the person individually. But for me personally, it was finding like a secure friendship group that you felt like comfortable with, and you felt like you wasn't missing out on much.
Yeah.
And you would see them go off do things, and you're like, oh, I hope they have fun. Do you know what I mean? That's one of them. Have just people in general that are like very supportive. Like I have my boyfriend too. Avoid people who like question your eating habits. I know I love my mum to death, but sometimes she's like, oh, Kat, you're not eating enough, or you eating too much, or like that could really affect you. I wouldn't say stay off social media because that would be hypocritical, but limit your inspiration and who you look up to. That's another one.
Talking about, is there anyone on social media? Because obviously, in modern day, especially mainstream media, we're trying to normalise different types of body shapes, so skinnier or bigger bodies. Is there anybody in particular you've seen online that you've seen that's gone, oh, actually, that makes me feel a little better?
No one in particular, but there's always people, like on TikTok, who saying that it's just in generally okay.
Yeah.
Even if talking about like appearances and stuff, they're like, it's okay to look the way that you are. But I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who are like this and who promote healthy and supportive body types as well.
If you don't mind, this might be a touchy topic. If you don't mind, could you like run us through what like your typical day of eating would be at the worst of it?
Well, it's going to be pretty short. I think from what I can remember, because it does affect your mind a lot and your decisions, from what I can remember, I would probably have cereal on a good day. I would have breakfast on a good day. But then about afternoonish time, I would have like a wrap with chicken and like seasoning, and that's all.
Well, no sauces or anything?
Mayo sometimes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like a tablespoon of mayo though. But that's like on a good day. On like a proper bad day, maybe. On a good day, I would eat a bit more. Because my body was starving.
So you just went from breakfast and there was no dinner?
Not a lot of the time, no. Sometimes I'll have 2 of the same wraps, but because they're so like low in calorie, it doesn't really make up for what I'm supposed to eat in a day.
Yeah, I understand. What's that like? Like the cereal is probably like 200, and then like the bread wraps 200, and then the chicken's 100, and then the mayo maybe 100.
Yeah.
So we got 600 there the whole day. That's really low, yeah. Insane.
Gio, you're probably better at stuff like this than me. Is there any advice you would give to someone? Obviously, like you don't have to.
I think it's a bit different in this specific aspect, right? Because like when I've discussed with my friends who do experience this, they're all guys, right? And like, obviously, the thing is because I don't understand the issues the same way, right? Because I don't understand these body standards issues that women face that men do not face in the same way, right? So I don't understand like that. So I don't want to speak out of turn. But what I recommend for like my friends who are struggling like this is like what I like to do is I like to because eating is a social thing. So when it's a social thing with other individuals, people tend to eat more, and because of that leads to positive things. And then obviously that's the start, because you can't just tell someone to go, oh look, you need to eat high calorie foods. Here's a list of high calorie foods. Go eat them. You can't tell someone to do that because like these patterns are ingrained into their habits and their daily routines, right? So it's very hard to break free from it. So I think the best thing to do in the first instance is to make it more of a social thing. Because if eating is a social thing, then you're more inclined to eat more. That's just how humans interact, right? So I think that's a good way of doing it. But then if you were to make a list of like high calorie things to eat, like obviously nuts are good for you. Like nuts have a lot of fat in them. So like I think like 32 grams of nuts is 200 calories. That's for roasted peanuts. I weigh my roasted peanuts, right? So I know that off the top of my head. And then like, you know, there's lots of like, if you swap to like red meat instead of white meat, because red meat's typically higher calorie and it's more higher fat percentage. You could add more carbs into your diet. You could do stuff like that. But it's really hard in it because these habits are there. They're not just going to break overnight. This is a long process. It's going to take months, maybe even years to, you know, I don't want to say fix, but change, you know? Oh, that's what do you think, Jake?
Like you said, I've not personally experienced it, so I don't know. I've always had the opposite issue, as I'm always eating too much, so I don't know what to say for the other way around, to be honest. But
Obviously, you have the most experience out of us here, right? So if you were to like give like advice to your younger self, what advice would you give?
Don't compare yourself to social media. I know it's very repeated advice, but I feel like it's one of the most important advice anyone, especially because social media is growing. You've got TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. You've got new apps getting created as well. But don't compare yourself to people online because it's most likely fake as well.
Very true. No, I think there's like a plane flying through. I don't know if you can hear that. There's someone mowing the lawn. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can hear that in the mic. I don't think they can hear it. But yeah.
very little, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, I think. But yeah, just like on that note, right? The way I see it, because we talked about the social media issue before, right? Like I know a lot of men do compare themselves to like fitness influencers, right? Like, oh, I look like that, and they're obviously abusing anabolic steroids, editing the photos, blah blah blah. So always remember, it's you against you, innit? As long as you're doing better than yourself than you were yesterday, last year, last month, whatever. As long as you're improving, that's the main thing, innit? That's all it is.
I agree with that advice. I think, yeah.
Let's go. Okay, so I'm just like wondering, right? So like obviously a lot of people, they go through these types of issues, right? But a lot of them, they don't think like it's bad for their health. They don't think it's bad. They don't think it's like it's not wrong, but they don't think like this. They don't really notice that anything's like going wrong. So basically, what was like the thing that made you realize that this isn't normal? Like this isn't how most people eat.
I've got two stories that are quite embarrassing where I thought it was a bit like, this is my rock bottom. I can't get it worse because I feel like I'm going to end up in like hospitals and stuff. But one is including you as well.
Well, it's a really good story.
So the first one, we'll keep you on edge for a bit. The first one is when I was going to Tesco, and the Tesco from where I live is about 5 minutes, maybe less. And as soon as I stepped outside, I was like, it's getting a bit warm. It was like dead winter. It was like, oh, I'm getting a bit warm. I was like, it's fine, I'll just keep going. And then I got about halfway. We're about to cross the road, and I was like, I can't walk anymore. Like, I cannot walk anymore. Like, I need to sit down so badly. And I was like on a 5-minute walk, and I was like, I can't even walk 5 minutes. The other one's also relating. It was quite close. It was. We were going to Farm Foods. We just stopped to walk around. We walked around Farm Foods, and I was getting a bit, again, hot, feeling a bit dizzy. And I was like, I'll just sit outside. Like, can you just meet me outside after you're done? So I sat outside, people walking past. I was like, this is so bad. This is horrible. And then we went on the way home. Again, 5-minute walk, it's really not that far. And I was like, I can't walk anymore. Like, I need to sit down before I could start walking again, especially because there's a hill coming up. I was like, I can't do it. And then Dec was like, oh, let me text Jake to see if he could drop us down. I was like, no. It's a bit embarrassing. I can't walk 5 minutes. That's when I kind of like, I have to get better because there is no way I'm going to keep doing this. I'll end up in hospital. So that was two of the moments when I realised that this can't continue. But other than that, it was kind of like a mind flip. When going into second year, everything just changed in my mind a little bit, and I was like, I'll just start eating again.
Well, would you say that these were the things that caused the change from first year to second year, or was it something else that caused it?
I really do want to say that too. I think it was a big jump between sixth form to year one, and it kind of like made me panic a little bit because I was moving away. I was in Newcastle by myself, no friends whatsoever, so I was struggling to adjust. But then I got into a routine over the summer when I was back at home, and I just continued doing that routine. when I was back in Newcastle, and that really like made my mental health better.
That's good. And like throughout this change, because obviously this isn't a one-day change, right? This is a periodic change. What has kept you motivated throughout? Because I know a lot of people where they start a change and then a few weeks in they completely drop it because they realize it's too hard and and then they're never going to change like that. But what's kept you going?
The idea of that I might die.
Okay, no, that's
Keep me going.
That's
I
fair. That's a very fair
mean, it's
point.
an obvious answer, but I was like, my organs are going to shut down. And I kept seeing videos as well, and I was like, oh, if you don't eat a lot, like, this is what's going to happen to this and this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was panicking. I was like, I can't do this. I just have to, like, change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I changed. And it's still kind of hard, like I mentioned before, when I don't hit my goal, especially my protein goal as well, because I've been trying to up my protein a little bit. I'm like, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do this. I can't do this. So that's also been the main motivation. Also, I really want to get an ass this summer.
Same. But you know, we talked about like earlier on. We talked about like the negative impact of social media and how they've affected your mental health, right? So what? Because like, I'm assuming here, I don't know for certain, right? But everyone in this room probably had social media from when they were very young. So like, I had it when I was like in year 6. So what was I, 11 years old? Like that's pretty young, right? So I'm pretty sure everyone in this room has had it from very young age.
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about the negative things here. So like, what do you guys think that these social media companies should do to like stop these things happening? Because obviously, an 11-year-old shouldn't be on Instagram. That's completely ridiculous,
yeah.
right? So what do you think? I'll ask you first, Jake, because like,
I mean, there's not much it can do, to be honest, can there? Because there's already things in place. You have to be a certain age, but people just lie. Like when I first made my first Facebook profile, I lied about what year I was born. So I don't. It's a weird one. There's not much they can do.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask for proof of age, maybe. Ask like ID, maybe. But again, that's not every 18-year-old just carries ID around with them. So it's one of those things. It's hard to fix, really.
I see what you're saying, but then again, like this ID thing, that isn't a bad idea, because like, if you look at like companies like any like investing company like Free Trade or eToro or Coinbase or whatever you want, right? You have to have verified ID to use these platforms. I don't see any reason why social media shouldn't have these same things in place, because like, you know, it doesn't make sense otherwise. And like, I think even worse potentially is like, you know, so like we have like, you know, Instagram, Facebook, all these things, but then you also have things that are specifically targeted at children. So like you have TikTok, for example, which is definitely targeted at children. Then you have YouTube Kids, which is 100% targeted at children. You can watch some crazy shit on there. It's like, well, what the fuck's going on? I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a good solution, but I think government regulation is an interesting idea. Well, obviously, Kat, you're a law student, right? So like, what's your take on this, right? I feel like it's gonna be quite insightful.
It's kind of from a law perspective, I'm not sure, because like Jake mentioned, I quite agree. It's really hard to track these things, but I think the idea of like deleting apps that promote this, I mean like Facetune, that's what I kind of mean, like getting rid of apps like Facetune, because you shouldn't be having...
What is Facetune? I don't know what that is.
Facetune is
Showing
like...
our rage here.
Huh?
Showing our rage
Ah,
here.
come on.
It's like basically an editing app, so you can make your face like smaller, your nose smaller.
Yeah.
You can make like your skin clearer. You could put makeup on as well, like through the app. These should not exist. Whoever thought that these should exist, fire them, because because they should not exist. I unfortunately knew what Facetune was at the age of like 10.
Wait, how long has this thing been around? Oh, the listeners.
Ages now. Everyone you see on social media probably Facetuned. Probably like more verified accounts, but definitely Facetuned. But yeah, it's really hard to track things like that.
Yeah, no, I agree that the tracking is hard, but I don't know. Maybe a bit backwards my thought process. Obviously, there's a lot of good that comes out of social media too. It isn't just negatives, right?
Like Barbells, bench and bros.
Yeah, like this, right? You can't watch this anywhere else, you know. But,
My
know.
TikTok account.
And Cat's TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But like, obviously, there's a lot of good that comes out of it. But I don't know if the bad, I think the bad might in some cases outweigh, especially when it's answers to like people who are very young, because like the psychological implications here are seriously bad. Like, and also like if you look at like there's like data out there that shows that like well, actually, this was true in the last 10 years, but the UK government have done things to stop it. But like in the US, this is still certainly true. Like obesity in children, right? Obviously, that's been going up, right? Except for like the last 5 years, the UK government have put things in place to lower it, and it has lowered in the UK, which is something good that we've actually made. It's rare UK doing it. But like if you look at countries like America, it's still going up, right? And I do think that social media has a big aspect to play in this, right? Because like these kids are just inside on their tablets or phones when they should be outside playing football or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's a bit different. So I think government should put fines on these companies. I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like the idea with like putting in like ID verification, that's a good idea. But I didn't realize this until Kat said it actually. So it was the Facetune thing, right? Because that's like something I've never heard of, right? I don't know how big it is. I imagine it's huge, but like I didn't know what that was. So it's like. There'll be like if we put regulations on the big companies, then small companies will simply come in and fill the market space without regulation, right? So it has to be like a widespread throughout every company, and it has to be like big fines. I think that's the way to incentivize that children don't get put on these platforms. So it's a big problem.
And I think parents as well.
Yeah, that's a good
There is ways to set like time limit on what you can, how long you can be on certain apps and what you can actually see. That's big. That's something big you can do as well from a young age. By the way, Kat's TikTok is @cat_interlude. Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah, give that a follow.
In fact, I forgot that. I think it's because I recently changed it, so I forgot.
Oh, that makes sense.
So,
So I don't have TikTok, so then what content do you make? I'm genuinely just curious. I have no idea.
just like vlogs and stuff.
Oh yeah. What's that? It'd be good shit.
Honestly, I don't like talking about it because it's kind of cringe, but like, it's also like every time I'm editing like a TikTok and Dec's like, "Ooh, who you texting?" I was like, "No." So like I just do it for fun, but also I don't like talking about it. But like also I love talking about it. Do you know what I mean?
What? I made it into one of the TikToks. I'm so happy.
Oh, let's go.
So I was like, yes, I made it.
Also, this podcast is gonna make it to TikTok.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do a vlog after this. You were in my all in town.
Yeah, that's when I saw. Yeah. But we're gonna go into a more lighter topic now. Kat had an interesting story told to me recently about. Well, I'm gonna phrase it probably wrong, but animal racism.
Okay. I need to do a bit of a context.
Yes,
basically,
please.
like being told, I'm a law student and I do animal law coursework module, right? So I thought it was supposed to be about like endangered animals and stuff, but I come to the first one and it's like about farm animals, and I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine. We'll warm into it. You know what I mean? We'll warm into it. But then they were on about, it was like halfway through the module, and I realised, and I sit there, and I was like, is she talking about animal racism? It was like, we were on about slavery. We were on about, basically, how it all, like, lined up was, they were talking about how, like, people make change and stuff, like slavery. People did not like slavery. They were like, hey, slavery's bad. They changed the law on slavery, right? But then she goes on a quote about someone who's like, that's what we're doing to animals. Animal slavery. I sat there. I was texting Dec as well. You could tell that he's a lot in my stories. He's the only person I talk to. But I was texting him mid-lecture. I was like, they're talking about animal slavery. Like, slavery of animals. And if you guys don't know, Dec's brown. So, he's mixed. So, we're on about this.
He's different brown.
Yeah. He's mixed. So I was on about this to my mixed boyfriend, and he was shocked, to say the least. He was like, really? I was like, yeah. Animal slavery. So, to be fair, I finished the module. I nearly finished the module, but the fact that I've lasted this long is just mad. Because there's been comparisons to, like, slavery, sexism, and racism, but towards animals.
Could you give an example of sexism or slavery towards animals?
Basically, what the philosopher said was that, I'm trying to remember, I don't think I remember the exact quote here, but he was on about how we discriminate against animals for the species of the animal, and why would we test on a rat but we wouldn't test on a dog? And he compared it, he literally said similar to racism and sexism. So it's like a quote from him.
Genuinely
basically.
surprised that point actually made sense. I felt like that was pretty valid actually.
I mean, you can see where it's coming from, but it's a bit extreme comparing it.
Yeah.
Also, some people, like vegans and stuff, will think of it like that. But as someone who isn't, I don't know, it seems very extreme to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what are your thoughts about this?
I don't want to get cancelled, bro. I'll tell you my actual thoughts in the car ride home. And I don't want to. No, I'm only joking. So like, what are my thoughts on this?
Could be a PR manager.
Don't want to get sued.
He made severe
you know.
lapse in his judgment.
So I'll need to consult with my lawyer before we if I actually say anything on camera.
You could, bro. You could.
But like, I don't know. Like you gotta think of it like this, right? I eat meat. I'm not gonna lie. I have family members who don't eat meat, but I do eat meat, and I like the taste of meat. Meat's great. But like, I kind of do get it because it's like, you know, certain cultures you wouldn't eat certain animals. So like, obviously, if you're from India, you're very likely a Hindu, like just based off statistics and data, right? And if you're a Hindu, then it's also incredibly likely that you don't eat beef because you consider cows as sacred animals. I'm not Hindu, and I do eat beef. So like, obviously you see that, but then you go to like America, the UK, and they're eating cows like, you know, it's like completely nothing. It's completely fine and normal. So obviously there are different standards across different nations.
Yeah.
So I do kind of see that aspect where it's like, oh, we're comparing different species to different things. We're like, oh, we wouldn't do things to, we wouldn't like what was the term? Test on a dog. We would test on a rat. So I do see that aspect because they're seen as like worse animals, even though they're still just animals at the end of the day. So I see that aspect. But then again, like I kind of justify. Okay, so I've had a lot of discussions with like people who are vegetarian or vegan, right? And it's like the idea why they don't eat meat.
Yeah.
I don't personally see it as wrong because I personally don't see the animal as like as much of a complex life form as human. So I think eating the animal's okay. There's a lot of religious arguments for it as well, right? Like if you look at different religions, there's a lot of arguments why it is okay and why it isn't okay. It's hard. It's actually hard because like my point is shit. my point is that they're not as complex, so we could eat them. But like that's a bit of a shit point, isn't it?
It's more. I think both arguments could be really extreme when you hear people argue about this, because one side's like, don't eat meat, it's bad, and then the other one's like, I'm gonna eat every single chicken in the world, and it's like, can you not have like a healthy middle? Which you can. You can have a healthy middle, and it's not something that people should shame others for. I personally think if you enjoy eat meat. If you don't. I mean, both sides are valid.
It is interesting though because like if you do take an extreme where you don't eat meat, then you can look at like India, for example, where like, you know, most of the Hindu population and some of the Sikh population are completely vegetarian, right? Yeah. So they don't eat any meat at all, and they're completely fine and healthy. But then you can also look at like this is like growing in like America, right? They have like the carnivore diet. I don't believe in that stuff. That stuff's whack. But like, you know, they have the diet where some people only eat beef. And they seem to be fine and well because they're eating like the beef liver, they're eating the essential organs. So it's interesting because both diets do work. Like neither of them are wrong. So it's like it's just really like more of a ethical question. Like, do you think it's ethical to kill animals, and why?
Oh dear.
I didn't want to answer that question, so I put it on him.
How do I get both sides. I do. Just personally speaking, I like meat. I would stop eating meat. But I do get, ethically speaking, I get where it's coming from, with farms and just eating meat in general. I saw this really interesting video. I think it was on Instagram the other day, where this guy, he was on a news channel in America or somewhere. And he's like, this vegan asked the woman, like, oh, why do you eat meat? And she said, oh, it's natural, like, you know, lions eat meat and everything like this. And he went back up, well, lions also eat their own babies. They also, you know, and if you they kill their own, like, baby and stuff. And he was saying, if a human killed their own baby, it's wrong. So comparing yourself to nature and to other animals, it would be, what's the word?
Hypocritical.
Hypocritical, thank you. So, I don't know, it is a weird one. I don't want to get cancelled.
I actually disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree
Okay,
in this
okay.
aspect, right? With the lion thing, they're trying to like make a false comparison, right? But then you could also look at the vegan themselves and be like, so I don't know if you guys, obviously I come from like a farming background, like that's what my parents did beforehand, before they came to this country, right? So basically, with that background, we fundamentally understand that when you grow plants, you have to kill animals in order to make sure that those plants are okay to be used. So like when you make wheat, right? Which is obviously, vegans are definitely eating bread. Like, come on, they eat bread. So like when you make wheat, right? When you get the wheat, there's lots of like little like bugs in the wheat, and then you grind it down, and those bugs stay in the wheat. They're still in the flour. Now, if you look at the UK, I think this is a law thing actually, a food law thing. In the UK, like you're allowed to have a certain percentage of animal parts in your wheat, because you can't get them all out. Like, it's literally not possible. Like little pieces of bugs. So those vegans are getting like literal animal products from it. That can't be avoided, no matter how lucky your diet is. Like, I don't know if some people have bought like chickpeas before and there's been little bugs in the chickpeas. Like, I don't eat them, but like I know people who do that. That's a bit grim. I see them, I don't eat them. I know some people who do that. They think it's okay and not wrong. Like, that's anything like that. Like, any plants you get, animals have died for those plants to be made. It isn't a lot of them, but it has happened. So I don't think that argument's a good argument. But I do think an interesting argument is the argument about climate change. The idea that, because this is the argument that I can't refute, and I try to think about it logically and be like, oh, it's a shit argument because of this reason, but like it isn't, and it's the idea that the plant industry is like, I think it is the number one contributor to like CO2 emissions in the West. So it's like, if this is the number one thing, then it's unethical to eat meat because you are killing everybody. So I see that aspect. But what do you think, Kai?
From the research I've done for my coursework recently, I'll definitely say that, I agree with the point.
No.
I think animals do contribute a lot in like the production and stuff, and just in generally breeding animals. So it's worse than the plant diet, but I feel it's just so not sustainable for you to have a constant vegan or vegetarian diet. Because I also looked into that a little bit. Not only is it like expensive, especially like with the cost of living crisis, it's mad expensive. But it's just, you don't get the nutrition that you need.
I agree with that.
At all. Yeah, you don't get the nutrition you need. And if you argue that, oh well, certain plants do, you kind of just like, yeah, but if you look at them compared to, for example, protein, there's a lot of plants that have protein, high protein. Tofu is one of them, I think.
Yeah.
Tofu, kidney beans as well. They're cheap, yes, but it's not enough protein for you to actually, compared to if you're going to eat a chicken. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like per calorie as well. Like if you do
per calorie as well. That's why most of the times people who you see who are very skinny most likely be vegan too, because that is like the really skinny, in my opinion. It's just not sustainable. I don't think it's sustainable for you guys, because you go to the gym, because you guys do go to the gym a lot. It's not sustainable for me either. Like, I couldn't cut it out. It's just, controversial topic, but it is.
So like, also when we were talking about plant-based protein, so another interesting aspect of plant-based protein is the idea of amino acid profiling. So I had to talk about this with my sister recently, actually. I can't, she does biology, so she explained it to me like from a biological standpoint. I think there's either 14 or 9 essential amino acids. I can't remember how many. It's one of those two numbers, right? And basically, there are no whole plant sources that gives you all of them. Like, you need all of them to adequately build muscle, but there's no protein that does it. So basically, like, let's say you have lentils, right, for example, which are they're actually more high carb. They're given a high protein name, but they're actually higher in carbs than they are protein, most lentils. But let's say you ate them for the protein, well, then you wouldn't actually have all the essential amino acids. Whereas if you look at a non-vegan diet, chicken breast has all the essential amino acids. So does like beef, and so does milk. So these aspects, right, you can just get them from one. That's called known as a complete protein source. There are no complete protein sources that are made of just one ingredient in the vegetarian diet.
But you could argue you still get all of the important amino acids, just not from one thing. So
yeah, that's true. So like a method of doing that is like having lentils with rice, because then you do get all the essential amino acids. But this is the interesting thing. If we look at like data, right? Because I actually have looked this up because I'm a bit of a nerd. I do a maths degree in it, so you know you're gonna. Oh come on, that's a bit tight. It doesn't matter. So then, obviously, I've looked this up a little bit. So there's this thing called the Indian phenotype, sometimes referred to as the South Asian phenotype, which is like most countries in South Asia. So you got India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, right? Where a lot of them are very high carb, low protein diets. I think the Pakistani diet is a bit different. So it's like the Punjabi diet, which is what I consume. It's a bit different, but like most of it is high carb, low protein. Now, what has this resulted in throughout generations is the South Asian phenotype, which is where it's basically skinny fat. So a lot of people who are vegetarian, when they substitute protein for carbs in one aspect because they're not educated on it. And what this results in is a skinny fat body, which, well, we're getting back to body images now, which obviously for most people isn't seen as ideal. There's nothing wrong with it if you have one, right? I used to have one. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But like, then again, that's not something I personally want. So maybe that's a bit of an egotistical argument. I'm like, oh, I want it, so I should have it. But like, then again, if you get your avocados exported from another country, your strawberries are all grown in Egypt, if all these things are not locally sourced or locally grown, then you are also just contributing just as much to the environment than anyone else. So like
CO2
Yeah.
no problem.
footprint.
Yeah. There's no
words.
problem here. Yeah.
Okay, end it here.
Can I
We
say
could.
one more thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
go for it.
Max Verstappen sucks.
Oh no. I have a friend who. I don't think she watches the podcast. There you go. Right, but she's a massive Max Verstappen fan. I was just told I'm gonna tell her to watch it now because you said that. And she probably watched the first episode and then hasn't watched the rest. I'll be like, hey, we mentioned you in this episode, so you should watch it. I can't lie. I don't really get Formula One. Like, I know you're a Formula One fan, and I have a lot of friends who are Formula One fans. But like, isn't it just the best car wins? Best car and the best driver, they win.
I mean, like, if you want to put it that way. Then,
Oh.
yeah, basically.
Oh.
Honestly, I don't like people who like I hate people who make it difficult. That's what I was trying to say. I don't like it who people make F1 difficult because it's not difficult. It is basically fast car. If you win, you win.
When you say it like that, I actually see the appeal. I like the idea of a fast car. But what do you think of like AI Formula One drivers? Because obviously the drivers, in my eye, I don't want to say this, they're a bit replaceable. Apart from like the PR aspect and like promoting, they're not replaceable in that aspect, but they are replaceable in the actual driving aspect. So what do you think of like AI being implemented into Formula One?
It shouldn't.
Oh.
It shouldn't. I don't know. It's just there's like. It's like why men like cars, to be fair. It's more like a satisfying aspect of it, of like, it's just simpler brain people that were like, fast car.
Fast car.
I like it.
Fast.
I like it.
You actually hate it. I my friend, right, so she was a master and she's graduated now. Basically, she loves Formula One. She loves Max Verstappen. And you say you don't like when people make it complicated. Her dissertation was on Formula One. Like optimizing pathways and driving related to mathematics. That shit was interesting.
I mean, like, if you're a die-hard fan, if you're like, like a die-hard fan, then you can make it as difficult as you want. It's a sport at the end of the day. But like, I don't like it. It's something that I like to watch in my spare time. So it's like, I've just done my law lecture, which can be difficult as well. And you're talking about some like gruesome stuff first thing in the morning. What do you want to do? You want to relax, really. So then you get people who make this like so complicated, and I'm just like, fast car, go vroom.
What makes it a sport? Because you said it's a
The
sport.
competitive.
What makes chess a sport?
It's chess a sport. I don't know if I classify it as a sport. I can't
mean,
lie.
Isn't chess
Technically it
technically a
is.
sport?
I think technically it is, but
Yeah,
like.
so, well, you know, I think F1's more sport even.
Imagine-
Yeah.
Oh. Well, what if I say I don't class either of them as sports? So what if I don't see either of them as sports?
Controversial.
What's your definition of a sport?
Sport.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually.
Shut
What is a
up.
ringer? Yeah, what's the definition of a sport? How do you define a sport?
Don't get yourself cancelled. God.
Gets cancelled because I don't
He
think
made
Formula
severe
One-
laps.
Not because of like taking mick out of vegans or all. It's chess is not a sport. Cancel. The Wi-Fi's playing up.
No.
He made a severe lapse in his judgment.
I didn't consult my lawyer before I said that, so now it's over. But no, like, chess, right? I'm just gonna say I don't think esports is a sport. I don't think chess is a sport, and I don't think Formula One is sports. These are like pastimes, isn't it? They're just things you do for fun. You know what I'm saying? It's sitting down watching TikTok a sport. You know, it's a pastime, isn't it? Like you use your brain there. So like, well, how do you find chess as a sport?
Okay, so Cambridge Dictionary.
I'm going to get proven so wrong right now.
A sport is a game, a competition, or activity needing physical effort and skill that is played or done according to rules for enjoyment and/or as a job.
Wait, say that again. Read it again.
A game,
Yeah.
competition,
Yeah.
or activity
Yeah.
needing physical effort and skill.
Physical
that
effort
is
and
played.
skill, not all skill. Where is the physical effort in chess?
Activity needing physical
Your mind.
and skill.
No, that's not physical. That's mental. You can't. You know,
Wait,
you have to
for
split
what?
those
For what? Sorry.
two. Where's the physical aspect in chess? And don't go moving the feet.
Chess
Is that-
boxing.
Oh no, that's a sport.
There we
I
go.
read chess boxing as a sport. We should do chess boxing. That'd be.
I don't know
challenge.
how to play chess, so no.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to box. That's a fair game. That's a fair game.
Physical effort. I mean, it's a lot of moving. You feel like that is, you got that's effort. You got to put
Alright,
effort into it. I guess.
read the definition one more time.
A game,
Yeah.
competition, or activity
Yeah.
needing physical effort and skill that is played or done according to rules for enjoyment and/or as a job.
So like, if it's scrolling through TikTok a sport then, because like it's an activity.
No, but it's played or done according to rules.
Yeah, according
There's
to
no
rules.
no rules about going through
What if you
TikTok.
gave yourself a list of rules? So you have to like every post. Is it now a sport? How fast you can do it?
But there's
Does that make it a
there's
sport?
no
then?
physical effort
Yeah.
or skill in
There's
that.
no physical
Okay,
effort in
where's
chess.
where's
There's
the
no
where's the
physical effort in
skill?
chess. It's tapping as fast as you can, bro. That's
That's
the
a
skill.
skill.
Is it?
Yeah, that's definitely a skill.
You could argue.
And for enjoyment, who would you enjoy that?
Who enjoys chess?
Do you not?
I do enjoy chess, but I don't classify it as a sport. Imagine instead of going around telling people I play badminton, no. So what I like to do is when I talk to someone,
I'm
I like to
an
ask
athlete.
if they play any sports, right? That's something I like to ask. It's like typically when you talk to a guy or a girl or whatever, like uni, I feel.
Yeah.
They always do something extra. They do a sport or something. So like, you know, when I talk to someone, I like to introduce myself. I like to talk about that because that's something that I'm quite interested in. I like to try new sports as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine instead of telling people I play badminton, I'm like, yeah, I play chess. What was that? that's terrible.
Or an e-sport.
Huh?
Or an e-sport.
That's even worse.
I play League of Legends.
Okay, no. So, I have a friend who is like, whoa, that's rude. That's rude. He's a great lad. I love this guy. He's a really good guy. So he's like really like high competitively ranked at Mario Kart. Like genuinely, like he's ranked really high in the UK.
That takes
Like,
skill.
Yeah. That I actually. Do I see it as a sport? No. But is it impressive? Yes. Something doesn't
Physical
have to
effort,
be. Something doesn't have to be a sport to be impressive. So like people who are good at chess, that's very impressive. But it isn't a sport.
Fair enough. I mean,
I feel like I
the
have to
Cambridge
damage
Dictionary would
control
disagree with you.
Damage control.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, he didn't mean it. Okay.
What is your favourite sport, Gio, actually? What?
Badminton.
To play or to watch?
I don't watch sport. The only sport I watch is cricket.
So cricket then.
I only watch the World Cup, you know. I don't watch
Ah,
anything
fair,
else.
fair,
I'm
that's
really
fine.
casual. I watch the Football World Cup too. But what's your
That's
favourite
true.
to play? What's your favourite to watch? And why?
To play and watch. To play rugby union.
To watch chess. Esports.
To watch either rugby league or boxing, I'd say.
Oh, but no, boxing is sick to watch. Actually, I take it back.
Boxing is
Boxing, MMA, anything fighting is sick.
Although I do like boxing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, undefeated.
For now.
It's how come across
Don't even get me
Gio.
started at boxing. I
Oh.
haven't been watching it for long,
Yeah.
but I have like a sixth sense about it. I was like, he lost. And he lost.
Do
Do you know how many arguments I had over this? He was like, how do you know? How do you know? I was like,
I've heard a few, yeah.
You should start. I don't
Oh, yeah.
recommend. I don't recommend this to the viewer, but if you got a sixth sense, you start gambling. Innit? Don't say that's not advice for you guys. I'm just letting you know. But like, if you got a sixth sense, I'll put some money on that.
Kat, when are you gonna box?
I'm not.
Just ever.
I'm not doing boxing.
Oh, why not? You'd be good at
I
it.
would
I
see
would
Cat
not
versus Jake.
be.
No.
It's so unfair.
No, I reckon
Because he'll
so,
lose.
Valid, yeah.
They'll have to go to space, innit?
Yeah,
They'll have
that
broken bones in the sun in space.
Oh, I do want to do boxing again, though. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up the episode there then. Thank you guys for watching. Again, please like, follow, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe, sorry. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Barbells Bench Bros for some behind-the-scene content. I'm going to put some clips up on TikTok tonight, actually.
Don't forget to follow Cat's TikTok as well.
I'm going to get there.
Bye.
Jeez. But yeah, for some behind-the-scene content, and I'm still going to make you do like the... We will get around to it at some point. And maybe some like eating challenges and whatnot.
Eating challenge, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Two men cutting, and this guy comes up with the idea of making eating challenges. I don't know what's wrong with him.
And make sure to follow Cat on TikTok at cat_title. No.
Yeah,
What was it? Underscore what? Interlude. I'll make sure to put it on screen now. Cat_interlude. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about for next episode, please let us know in the comments.
This might be the last episode though, so I want you guys to know that.
One more episode.
No, okay, one more. It's decided.
At least one more episode, and we'll see what we're doing after that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time in a bizzle.
Bye.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes.